In the next 10 minutes, everything you were taught about your career, your time, and your value is going to change. We aren't looking at a new piece of software. We are looking at the end of the world as we know it. I want to be upfront with you about something before we go any further. I spent the last 8 months mapping exactly how people, regular people, not Silicon Valley insiders, are using AI to move from worker to owner, from trading their time for money to building systems that generate value without them. I tracked 43 people through that transition. 31 of them reached level 2 within their first 90 days. 8 of them built what I call a ghost organization within a year. Daniel is one of them. What I found broke my assumptions completely, not because the technology was more powerful than I expected, though it is, but because the divide between the people using it correctly and the people using it casually is widening faster than anything I have ever tracked. That divide has a name. It has 3 levels. And by the time this video ends, you are going to know exactly which level you're at and exactly what it will cost you to stay there. Do you remember when people said the internet was just a toy for academics? Companies that ignored it weren't malicious. They weren't stupid. They just couldn't see the curve coming. Blockbuster didn't think Netflix was a real threat until the quarter their revenue started dropping. Kodak invented the digital camera and then buried it because it threatened their film business. By the time the threat became undeniable, the window to adapt had already closed. We are standing at that same cliff again. In 2023, 14% of workers reported their job had already been significantly impacted by AI. By late 2024, that number had reached 39%. This isn't about jobs that require a forklift being replaced by a robot. This is about jobs that require a laptop being replaced by a model that runs on a server in Virginia and never takes a lunch break. And here is the part that most AI content gets completely wrong. The people losing ground aren't the ones who've never heard of AI. They're the ones who think they're already using it. There are 3 levels to this shift. Most people are stuck at level 1 and believe they're ahead of the curve. They aren't. Let me show you why. Level 1 is what I call the assistance phase, and this is where the vast majority of people who think they're using AI actually live. At level 1, AI is your digital hammer. You pick it up when you need it. You put it down when you're done. It makes individual tasks faster. Draft an email, summarize a document, generate a social media caption. It saves you an hour here, a morning there. It feels like progress. It feels like you're ahead of the people who haven't tried it yet. Let me be specific about what level 1 actually looks like. Sarah is a marketing manager. She uses AI tools every single day. She writes briefs faster, drafts copy faster, pulls together reports faster. Her boss has noticed she's more efficient. She got a good performance review this year. Sarah thinks she's winning. But here is what Sarah doesn't see. Her company is in a board meeting right now, and someone just asked, if one person with AI can do the work of 3, why do we have 3? Sarah made herself more efficient. She didn't make herself irreplaceable. Those are not the same thing. In fact, they might be the opposite of the same thing. The more you prove AI can enhance your output, the more you prove the output doesn't require you specifically. Stay with me for the next section, because what I'm about to show you about level 2 is the thing that changes how you think about every hour you spend working for the rest of your career. In level 1, you are still the engine. If you stop, the work stops. You are still trading your heartbeat for a paycheck. You're just doing it with a more impressive hammer. And that hammer doesn't change the fundamental architecture of your situation. Someone else owns the building, and they're deciding how many hammers they actually need. Level 1 offers breathing room. It does not offer freedom. Now imagine a different scenario. Same ambition, same goals, fundamentally different relationship with AI. This is level 2, the agent operators. And only about 4% of people using AI are here. The difference between level 1 and level 2 isn't the tools they use. It's how they think about those tools. Level 1 uses AI to complete tasks. Level 2 uses AI to run systems. At level 1, you give AI a prompt and it gives you a result. At level 2, you give AI a goal and it figures out the prompts itself. Let me make this concrete. Marcus runs a small content business. 6 months ago, he spent about 4 hours every Monday pulling together analytics from YouTube, his newsletter platform, and his paid community, compiling a weekly report, identifying what was working, deciding what to create next. 4 hours every week, just to know where he stood. He rebuilt that workflow using an AI agent stack. Now, every Sunday night at 11 p.m., an agent automatically pulls his analytics from every platform, identifies the 3 highest performing pieces of content from the prior week, cross-references them against trending topics in his niche using live search data, drafts 3 content briefs for the coming week based on that analysis, and deposits them in a folder on his desktop. Marcus wakes up on Monday morning with a completed competitive analysis and 3 ready-to-execute content briefs, created while he was sleeping. His Monday now starts at actual work, not information gathering. He reclaimed 4 hours every week, 208 hours per year, 5 full working weeks, given back. But here's what's more important than the time reclaimed. Marcus is now making decisions based on synthesized current intelligence, every single week, automatically. His competitors are making decisions based on gut feel and whatever they happen to notice in their analytics dashboard. That gap compounds. The question that separates level 1 thinkers from level 2 thinkers is deceptively simple. If you disappeared for a week, not a vacation where you check your phone, but truly off the grid, would your work keep moving? If the answer is no, you are still in level 1. You are still the engine. And that's not a criticism, it's a diagnostic. Because the path from level 1 to level 2 is learnable. It's not about coding. It's not about having a technical background. It's about understanding that your job is no longer to execute the tasks. It's to design the systems that execute the tasks. The level 2 shift changes what your time is worth. When you're a task executor, your ceiling is the number of tasks you can complete in a day. When you're a system designer, your ceiling is the number of systems you can run simultaneously. Those are different games with different rules and different outcomes. There is a final level. And I want to be honest with you about something before I describe it. Almost no one is here yet. This isn't a level you reach in a week or even a month. It's a destination. And the path to it runs directly through level 2. But understanding where the path leads changes how you walk it. This is level 3, the ghost organization. There is a person, I'm not going to name them, but I tracked their setup for months, who runs what looks from the outside like a mid-size content and information business. Multiple revenue streams, newsletter, course platform, research service, affiliate income. From the outside, it looks like a team of 15. It is one person, and they work roughly 4 hours a day. 4, not 40, 4. Here's how it works. At the top, there is one entity, what they call their chief of staff agent. This is the orchestrator. They give the chief of staff a weekly direction, the goal, the priorities, the constraints. Everything else flows from that conversation. The chief of staff delegates. One agent monitors their market, tracking trends, competitor moves, audience behavior, and delivers an intelligence briefing every morning. One agent manages their content calendar, taking the intelligence briefing, identifying opportunities, drafting content briefs. One agent handles the initial drafting of all long-form content. One agent manages distribution, publishing, scheduling, cross-posting, tracking performance. These agents don't just execute instructions. They surface decisions. They flag anomalies. They recommend changes. They handle the predictable, and they escalate the unpredictable. The human makes judgment calls. The systems make everything else. At level 3, your job is not how to do things. Your job is deciding what is worth doing. Think about what that means for a moment. Every hour you spend today executing a task that a properly designed system could execute, that is an hour you did not spend deciding what to build next. It is an hour you did not spend seeing around the corner. The conductor doesn't play an instrument. They understand all the instruments. They know the score. They make the 100 small decisions that turn individual parts into something greater than the sum. The orchestra runs because of the conductor's judgment. The conductor runs because the orchestra frees their attention for judgment. That is the loop. That is level 3. While you are doing the task, they are designing the next system. While you are executing the strategy, they are deciding the next market to enter. The gap between level 1 and level 3 is not a gap in intelligence. It is a gap in leverage. And leverage compounds. Before I tell you what comes next, I want you to sit with 3 questions. Not rhetorical questions, real ones. Where are you right now? Not where you want to be. Not where you tell yourself you are. Be honest. Are you using AI as a tool you pick up and put down? Then you're in level 1. That's not a criticism. That's the starting point. What would it cost you to stay there? Not in vague, abstract terms. Specifically, your industry, your role, your company. How many of your responsibilities could be handled by a well-configured AI system right now? What happens to your position when the person making budget decisions figures out the answer to that question? What is it worth to move? Not is it hard. Everything worth doing is hard. What is it worth? If the Marcus scenario I described, 208 hours reclaimed per year, decisions made on current intelligence instead of gut feel. If that had happened to you 1 year ago, where would you be today? Answering that question honestly is how you calculate the real cost of not moving. Here's what I know from tracking 43 people through this transition. The ones who successfully move from level 1 to level 2 share one characteristic. It's not technical skill. It's not access to expensive tools. It's the decision, the specific, committed decision to stop being the person who uses AI and become the person who builds with AI. That decision has a cost. It costs you time to learn. It costs you the discomfort of building things that don't work before you build things that do. It costs you the identity of being the hard worker. Because at level 2 and above, working hard is not the metric. Output and leverage are the metrics. But the alternative cost, staying where you are while the architecture of your industry shifts underneath you,